Hey everybody, welcome and happy Easter. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Just thought I'd give you a quick update and do something a little bit different. We are live today. So we thought we'd share some of the updates about all the changes that have happened over the past week or two. There's been so much going on, and there's going to only continue to be lots and lots of changes as things progress. We're sort of getting to this phase where we're in between the depths, the terrible side of the pandemic, and we're slowly on our way out. And as we're in this middle ground period, that's where we're going to start to see a lot of changes. There's going to be a lot of different things that are going to come up, and a lot of challenges and maybe some setbacks. But we're here to guide you through and give you the updates so that you can stay on top of all the changes that are going on. I'm fortunate as a travel agent. I get pretty much a daily digest of all the changes that are happening. So it's easy for me to summarize it for you and, give you the up-to-date information. Now, if you have any questions about travel, either for today or for a future episode, please feel free to comment down below. And if you do enjoy the episode, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future updates. So first things first, let's talk about the latest thing is the CDC, the US CDC has posted their rules for post-vaccination. So this is once you're fully vaccinated, what can you do? And the good news is they are going to basically remove the requirement for you to quarantine when you return back to the USA. And you also don't have to get a PCR test to enter, or a PCR test or a rapid test in order to board the plane. So that's going to be a huge relief for those of you who are fully vaccinated. I didn't check the latest numbers to see where the US is in terms of vaccinations overall, but certainly racing ahead as one of the strongest countries because of their own vaccine production. So great news there. They are recommending the continued use of PPE, and that's really going to be until we reach a level of sort of herd immunity amongst the population. Because, of course, when we travel, we're usually traveling internationally, and that's going to mean traveling to places where there may be a fewer percentage of the population that's fully vaccinated. So obviously, masks wearing and hand sanitizing, all that fun stuff is going to continue for a little while longer. The big question for me as a Canadian is, will Health Canada follow suit in their recommendations? They've been fairly reluctant, I would say. I think I can be fair in saying that they've had a relatively anti-travel stance for the past 6 months or more. And I'm hoping that as a greater percentage of the population gets vaccinated and our quantity of vaccine doses stabilizes, that we'll start looking on how we can move through this and on to better days. Now, cruising, the CDC has also made some recommendations. They've been working on this for a while now, and it really, I think a lot of the cruise lines felt that they were backed into a corner where they kept seeing more and more delays. The CDC had required cruise ships to go through a bunch of different tests in order to ensure that they would be able to cruise with a good portion of people on board the ship without creating issues. Hey, Mike, how are you doing? So Mike has a question about the variants. So let me finish this and I'll talk about that in a second. So, with the cruising, there have been lawsuits that have been threatened by Florida because obviously a lot of income is leaving their state. So, that's something that needs to be addressed because the cruise lines want to get moving again. So what they've actually done is they've relocated a lot of the cruise lines to start from new home ports. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But basically they're pushing the CDC to work through this phase of the pandemic and to find a solution on how to, how to get through this. To Mike's question, what about the variants? Yeah, time will tell. I'm not seeing any medical degrees behind my name. So, I'm no expert. I think it's just going to be a case of we're going to have to wait and see how things roll out. I have heard experts say that, the variants are simply going to replace the strains that we have right now. And I shouldn't say strains because I do understand that a variant is different than a strain. But some of them are going to be stronger and some of them are going to be similar to what we have now. But where is this going to take us? I mean, I don't know. My crystal ball stopped working months ago. So, it's just going to be a time will tell thing. And I think that because of that, we really do need to continue to work through things as much as we can, as opposed to having a plan where we wait for COVID to be, say, over per se. And so I think we need to work on a plan to work through this, because what if we get a really strong variant, such as, what I've heard of the Brazilian one, the P1 variant, where maybe some of the vaccines aren't as strong against it? Do we just stop travel for the rest of time? I don't think so. I think we just need to find a way through. So it'll be interesting to see what's happening with that. And I'm not going to formally talk about this, but if you are interested, there's a lot of really interesting stuff coming out of Israel with some drugs, some nose sprays, all different kinds of therapeutics that would mean that if you did unfortunately get infected with COVID, that it might extremely lessen the disease or the virus that you get, so that it becomes a lot easier to get through it and a lot more like the common cold. So hopefully that answers your question, Mike. But if you have any more, love to hear from you. I hope you're doing well. Okay, so moving on to the next one. We talked about cruise rules. So vaccine passports. Now, a lot of cruise lines are requiring this. And I think that, that is definitely something that we're going to see in the short term while we're in this phase of, in the deepness of the pandemic and going through to we're out of the pandemic. Airlines are requiring this too. A lot of different governments are looking at this. Britain is actually looking, I just saw an article about that, where they're looking at implementing a vaccine passport and then having certain travel routes. They're using a color system, a traffic light system, where green routes you could travel without any extra quarantine, and other routes that are where you're coming from a country or going from Britain to a country where there's lower levels of vaccination happening, that you might still need to do some quarantine. So it's really interesting to see what's happening. But as I say, right now we're in this tricky phase. And until we reach a point where the majority of people are vaccinated, and we then therefore reach herd immunity, we're going to have these kind of things that are going to be a requirement. So we all know, of course, travel is a privilege and not a right. Those of you who cannot or will not get the COVID vaccine, obviously that's your choice. But for the short term, that may mean that is going to preclude you from certain destinations, certain types of travel. But, do I think this is going to go on forever? In my humble opinion, no, I don't think so. I think that once we get through this, assuming we do, then I think we'll reach that point of herd immunity. And then I think that the vaccine passport may no longer be required. But again, not seeing any MD letters behind my name. So I will leave that to the experts to determine. Okay, now having said that, vaccine passports have been blocked in Florida. The state government has actually put some rules and regulations in place where government officials are actually banned from producing any kind of or issuing any kind of documentation to confirm that you've had the COVID vaccine. So this does a bit leave Canadians who flocked down to Florida to get the vaccine a bit out of luck, because if you've gotten both of your doses, and many people have, here in Canada, we're hopeful to get our first dose. And yet so many Americans that I know, they're already on their second, which is fantastic news. The Canadian Snowbirds who've gone down there, they're going to come back, be fully vaccinated, but they won't be able to provide any documentation to show for this. Nothing official at any rate. They may have some appointment documentation, that kind of thing, but nothing, no official COVID passport, that's for sure. Mike says it is buffering a little bit, but he can still hear me. So thanks for the update, Mike. I suppose, I'm in British Columbia, Canada. We are back into a lockdown for the Easter weekend and for the next few weeks. I suppose probably everybody's online. They're probably all on YouTube on all the houses around me. So a little bit of a bandwidth issue is probably what's going on. Anyways, that's what's going on with Florida. So something to consider, there's a lot of countries that are opening up to what's called vaccine tourism, such as Barbados. Cuba's talking about it as well, where you'll be able to enter the country and you have to stay for a certain amount of time. There's going to be all kinds of rules and requirements around this, but they will basically offer you a complimentary, that sounds like a complimentary upgrade, a complimentary vaccine. It just doesn't sound the same, doesn't quite sound right. But anyways, there's quite a few countries that are looking at offering a free vaccine if you go to visit their country. So it's a great way for them to stir up some tourism and get those dollars into their country, as well as providing you with a safe opportunity and perhaps an expeditious opportunity to get fully vaccinated. So I'm going to do a video on that, I think, later this week, once we have a little bit more detail on which countries are offering this and when and how and all those kind of details. But it's just quite interesting to explore, and certainly something it would be interesting for Canada to offer something like this. Currently, Whistler Blackcomb is closed down for the rest of the ski season, which is unfortunate. And I know that they're really looking at ways they can restart the Canadian tourism side of things, because the tourism economy has really suffered here in Canada because we closed our borders to visitors. But certainly a vaccine passport program, vaccine tourism program could be a safe way to bring people in and to keep everybody safe. So we'll see what comes from that. I did mention in a video last week about some really cool new opportunities about cruising from the Caribbean this summer. This is something that I think is really cool, and I personally am really hopeful. And if any government officials are watching this video, I'm putting my hand up now for Johnson & Johnson, the one-shot, one and done vaccine. I would love to get that and actually be fully vaccinated for the summer. I mean, how cool would that be? Especially having been over a year without travel, and it's been like 20 years since that has happened in my life. Anyways, I digress. So cruising from the Caribbean this summer, there are 3 cruise lines that have decided, as I mentioned, the US CDC has put rules in place where you cannot sail from the US right now. So what they've done is they've said, okay, well, screw it. We're going to go from the Bahamas, Bermuda, or St. Martin. And they're offering cruises that are fully within the Caribbean, and you are required to be fully vaccinated. If you're a kid, it's just a negative PCR test, because they're still not offering vaccines for kids yet. But for now, it's the crew are mostly fully vaccinated, and as well, all guests are going to be required to be fully vaccinated. But what's happening is Royal Caribbean is sailing. They're doing 7-night itineraries out of Nassau, and that is going to you're going to be seeing. You're sailing within the Bahamas, including 2 full days at their own private island, which is Coco Cay, as well as sailing into Cozumel and Grand Bahama Island. So that's a pretty cool itinerary. And then also from Bermuda, and that also is going to include sailing into Coco Cay for a couple of days, as well as into the Bahamas. So some really cool itineraries there. Celebrity is sailing from St. Martin, which is one of my favorite islands. I love watching the planes go overhead. And, Mike's got to go. Okay, well, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Have a great Sunday. Happy Easter. And we'll see you on the next one, Mike. So St. Martin is that crazy island where it's got a runway right on the beach, and it's the closest runway in the world where you can get to on foot. There's a fence that protects you from getting too close to the runway, obviously, because it's massive international flights coming in, and they literally land right over top of your head. I've posted a couple of videos about this. It is an amazing experience, and it is a great island too. It's split in half. There's one half, the top half is French, the bottom half is Dutch. So it's a lovely island to see, lots of stuff to see and do there, and some spectacular beaches. And St. Bart's and Anguilla are just a short ferry ride away from the island. And bonus, you get an extra passport stamp for those. Thumbs up on that one. So from the Bahamas, from St. Martin, they're going to be sailing a couple of different itineraries. They're both 7 nights long. One of them is going to St. Lucia, St. Kitts, and Barbados. And the other one is cruising the Dutch islands. So it's hitting Aruba and Curacao, as well as Barbados. And I've been to St. Lucia, Barbados, Aruba, and Curacao, and they're all fantastic islands. So a really great opportunity to see them. And like I say, it's a fully enclosed Caribbean cruise. So a great opportunity and something that we may not see again. Crystal Cruises is offering smaller ship cruising. And all of these, I should say, are going to be sailing with a limited capacity. So that it's not going to be a full-sized cruise, a full crew of passengers, a full complement of passengers. It's going to be limited. So there would be less people on board. Crystal is sailing from Nassau and Bimini, also offering 7-night cruises. And these are going to include opportunities for you to swim with the pigs in Exuma. I haven't done that. That's pretty cool. Kind of crazy, but kind of cool as well. You can also swim with the rays and the dolphins in Bimini. For the most part, on these things, we are talking about swimming with wild animals. This is not a penned experience. This is just out in the wild with pigs, pigs swimming up to you and around you. Crazy, but these are the crazy experiences we have when we go traveling, and a lot of fun stuff to see and do. So like I said, all of those cruises require you to be fully vaccinated in order to get on board. For kids, you only have to have a negative PCR test in order to board. Now, on that note, I also wanted to say that, there's been a lot of talk about how the vaccine requirement is going to affect travel. And because children aren't physically able to be vaccinated, for probably not until at the earliest this winter or maybe next year into 2022. So is that going to increase demand for all-inclusive resorts, because you are theoretically going to be around a higher percentage of people who have been at least partially, if not fully vaccinated? And there's still research being done on whether or not children have a higher propensity to be an asymptomatic spreader. I've certainly seen some reports that have suggested that they are, but I mean, you can't swing a cat without finding another report or another survey that's going to show you different results. So yeah, take it all with a grain of sand. So anyways, I think you will see, if you're looking at traveling for the fall or winter of this year, I think you're going to see a higher demand for adult all-inclusive resorts or adult-only cruises. So I think that if you're interested in booking something like that, you're going to want to book it now, because rates are only going to increase. We're already seeing prices increasing a lot for December Christmas travel. So if you're interested in traveling for this fall, book now, or you're going to be sorry, because the prices are going to go up. New all-inclusive options. We've got some really fun stuff happening with this as well. Secret St. Martin has had just a heck of a time. This resort is it's not a new build. It's they took over the Riu St. Martin. So if you're not familiar where that is, on the island of St. Martin, it is at the top. It's on the French side of the resort. Of the island, and it is near it's on a really nice beach. It's also near some spectacular beaches, including one that is clothing optional. It's always an interesting walk along the beach. No judgment, but it's interesting. Yeah, so Secret St. Martin, so that's obviously an adults-only resort. We're talking 5-star luxury, so no restrictions on a la carte dining, unlimited a la carte dining. They will still offer the buffet, but of course it's the new and improved COVID-friendly buffet where they will serve your plate. And also they've got a really nice pool area. They've got swim-up suites, the works, Wi-Fi is included, and of course brand name alcohol throughout the resort and all included. Over to Barbados, there's a new Hyatt that is in the works over there. It's probably still going to be another year off for the Hyatt because it had some issues again with the build. The Secret Saint Martin, I should point out, it just opened April 1st. So this has been a long time coming, but really great to see that it is finally open. The Hyatt Barbados is, I believe, scheduled for later this year, or it might even have been pushed back to 2022 at this point in time, but it is coming soon. Hilton Playa del Carmen, that's going to be a swap over. It is currently the live Playa del Carmen. Now, this one is for sort of the hip and trendy crowd who wants to be in the action, but not necessarily on the beach. It's a couple of blocks off the beach. It is rumored that it will have access to the beach at the Hilton, which is right on the the Hilton, which is right on the beach, which is an adults-only resort. But this one is right on Fifth Avenue, so a really great opportunity if you want to be really close to shops, bars, restaurants, some really great dining options on Playa del Carmen. And then we've got Dreams opening up in a brand new resort in Mazatlan, and that's not coming until 2023. But it's interesting to see this is under the AM Resort portfolio. Dreams, Secrets, Breathless, Now, Sunscape, and Zoetry. So they're really solid resorts. You know, again, Dreams is going to be offering unlimited a la carte dining, no reservations for dinner. RAS, if you're watching this, I know that's one of your requirements. Swim at bars, yes. Beach service, yes. And top shelf alcohol, obviously, as well as all the other great things that we've all come to know and expect and love from Dreams. But moving into Mazatlan, which is a brand new destination for them. So that's some pretty exciting stuff. I did post on my community post. I don't know if you guys check that out at all, but go on my channel, jump over to the community post, and I've got some fun trivia questions and stuff like that on there, as well as just useful tips and some fun surveys. But I did post on there that Club Med in Canada is actually opening its first all-inclusive resort in Canada. And I was a little bit hesitant about this because financially, I'm not really sure how they can make this work, because it is going to include unlimited snacks, unlimited a la carte and buffet dining, as well as unlimited alcohol. So it is a ski resort. It's about an hour and a half from Quebec City. And it includes free ski lessons or snow, as well as complimentary tickets. So it's a really unique kind of concept for those of you who are looking for more of a sporty vacation. For those of you who like looking at the snow, maybe want to have a snowball fight or make a snowman and just kind of want to hang back and chill out in the chalet and have some drinks, well, you can do that too, because the drinks are all included. So like I said, you know, it's a little bit more pricey, but there's some really great specials that are on right now. They opened in December of this year. And like I said, it's all inclusive and it's in Canada. So if you are looking for something a little bit different, you may want to check that out. Once we get a little bit more detail on that, and once we get a bit further down the road in terms of their construction, I will be doing a video on that just to detail a little bit more about what exactly it includes. Like I said, I was a bit questioning of it because our prices for alcohol here in Canada are so higher than any places in the world. Certainly, I mean, you can go to the States and you can get a beer for $2-3. Here, you're lucky if you get it on sale for $5, you're having a good day. So kind of puts things in perspective. And then once you hit the resort areas, you know, Whistler, Blackcomb, any of the other ski hill resort areas, the price, you mean, just double it, you know, it is what it is. So a few different updates for you today. Hopefully you found that information useful. I don't know if you like this format or not, but I'd love to hear from you on that. I just thought we'd try something different and give you the updates as they're happening. So lots of stuff going on. Expect more information in the coming weeks. And as we go through this, like I said, this weird phase where we're kind of in the in-between zone where travel is slowly starting to open up and things get back to normal. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be at this phase because it's been a long trip. so far. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.